What is up, everyone? Welcome into the video. My name is Jonathan Messer, and I'm the host of Booby Sports Show. And in this video, we are going to be predicting the Miami-Ohio State second-round playoff game. This game is the Cotton Bowl. Obviously, we know Miami's coming off of a nail-biting win, very low-scoring game against Texas A&M. Last time we saw Ohio State, they were in the Big Ten Championship in a game they lost to Indiana. They're looking to bounce back. Let's get right into it. Alrighty, so let's hop right into this. What do we need here from Miami? Well, let's take a look back at their game against Texas A&M, and let's base it off of that. So let's just quick rundown. The game was 0-0 at halftime. The first time in a college football game, playoff game ever that the score was 0-0 at halftime. Obviously very low scoring. That's very indicative by the final score as well, 10-3. Carson Beck in this game only had 103 yards. Not his best performance, but they really leaned on the run game heavy. Mark Fletcher had 17 carries for 172 yards. He was unbelievable in this game. He broke out a very long run in the fourth quarter on Miami's last drive that put them in position to score, and that was almost the ice the game moment, but Malachi Toney took the ball in instead of sliding. If he would have slid, the game would have been over there, and that Texas A&M drive where Marcel Reed ended up throwing a pick wouldn't have even mattered. It wouldn't have ever come, really. They only had 278 yards of total offense. Now, I mean, that seems like a lot, but honestly and truly, in this age of college football, that's not a lot of yards. 10 points is obviously not a lot of points. 10 points against Ohio State's not going to win. Texas A&M has a really good defense, but Ohio State's defense might be the best in the nation. They were 3 for 12 on third down, which is bad, 25%. You want that number to be anywhere above around 42%. 40 to 50% is a really good third down conversion rate, and they are far from that in this game. Well, in the game against A&M, so that needs to be cleaned up. They missed 3 field goals. Very windy day down there in College Station, but you missed 3 field goals. You take 9 points off the board against Ohio State, it's not going to win the football game. They did force 3 turnovers, which is good. They were +2 in the turnover battle, and they had 7 sacks. Unbelievable, especially against an offensive line as good as Texas A&M's. Now, some of that has to do with Marcel Reed's indecisiveness, but that 7 sacks against anybody is unbelievable. Okay, last time we saw Ohio State play. Offensively, they weren't bad. They had 322 yards of offense, not horrible, but they gave up 5 sacks, and here's the big thing right here. They were 4 of 12 on third down. Like I said, with Miami being 3 of 12 on third down, that's not a winning percentage on third down. You're not going to win many football games being that far below 40% on third down. Jeremiah Smith went off, though. He had 144 yards. Obviously, I don't even have to say this, but look for him in this game. I mean, he's Jeremiah Smith. Okay, so what do some of these teams need to look at here to get a win? Well, for Miami, the run game with Mark Fletcher just has to show out like it did against Texas A&M. They found it. The past few games, it kind of seems like it was on a decline, and which is confusing because they have one of the best running back tandems in the nation with Mark Fletcher and Tremar Brown. They have a really good offensive line. So it was just kind of confusing to see that happen, but they picked it up, obviously, against A&M. And if they can get that going against Ohio State, give them a real good chance in this game. The O-line is still really good. Like I said, they kind of fell off in the run game a little bit. They gave up a few pressures in the passing game against A&M, but for the most part, I think they did a pretty good job. We all know Texas A&M has an amazing pass rush. They have one of the best pass rushers in college football, and Cassius Howell, and they were able to keep him at bay for the most part. I think they gave up 3 sacks, but against a team that's that good off the edge, it's not horrible. They need to get Malachi Toney involved a little bit more. Malachi Toney, their leading receiver, had 33 receiving yards, and it wasn't Malachi Toney. We know Malachi Toney on their second to last drive had a bad fumble, but A&M didn't do anything with the ball, luckily for them. And Malachi Tony had the game-winning touchdown, technically. He should have went down, but that's beside the point. They still won. They need to get him involved earlier here. He's their best playmaker. He's a freshman. He's so dynamic with the ball in his hands. Obviously, Ohio State's going to crowd the line here, but you got to get the screen passes. Just get him the ball in space and let him work. Can Carson Beck manage the football game? We can't have Carson Beck out here seeing ghosts. In the first half of that Texas A&M game, when they didn't run the ball well, he was seeing ghosts. He was missing guys. It wasn't until the last drive before halftime where they ended up missing a field goal before they really, well, it might have been the second to last drive because Texas A&M had that fake punt that went horribly, where they had a big play in the passing game. Beck hit a guy down the sideline for a good gain. He's just got to be better, especially as a veteran quarterback, a guy who's been in the SEC championship twice. Yeah, he's been in the SEC championship twice. He's now played in a playoff game. He's got to be better. Defensively, Miami comes in with the 6th-ranked run defense. They're really good up front. Against the pass, they're 36th, but what really helps that out is having Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain coming off the edge. Their pass rush tandem is just ridiculous, and that's a fit for any football team. I mean, those two guys coming up, if you put those two guys on the Cardinals, that's automatically one of the best pass rushing duos in the NFL. Like, that's how elite this pass rush duo is, and look for them to make some noise against Ohio State. Okay, let's shift our focus over to Ohio State. Bo Jackson continues to tote the rock pretty well. He had 83 yards against Indiana in the Big Ten championship loss. He had a good game. They're going to have to let him go, and they're going to have to get that run game going. They have a really good offensive line. They got to be better in the pass game because they gave up, I believe, 5 sacks against Indiana. Now, that Indiana, don't get me wrong, Indiana has a pretty good defensive line, but they're small. They're quick, but that's a team up front that they should have been able to at least keep at bay. I mean, Indiana's, I feel like I'm kind of downplaying how good Indiana's defensive line is. It's really good, but I don't think they're 5 sacks against Ohio State good, if that makes sense. That's got to get cleaned up, but like I said, they were pretty good in the run blocking category, and that shows with Bo Jackson being able to tote the rock pretty well. Julian Sand, obviously he's going to make the smart decision with the ball, but he needs to push the ball down the field a little more. He averaged about 10.3 air yards this year against just in the regular season, and in the Indiana game in the Big Ten championship, he only averaged 8.9. Now, that doesn't seem like a big difference, but when you get into how it averages out, it actually is. It's not horrible. 8.9 isn't horrible. It's better than a lot of guys, but in the playoffs, it's got to be better. It's just going to have to be better. And what is good here, they're facing a guy in Carson Beck who this year isn't averaging a lot of air yards, but they got playmakers who can just get the ball and go. Julian Sand has a receiving core that's obviously the best in college football, might go down as one of the best that we've ever seen, but a lot of them are downfield threats. You think about guys like Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate's the best deep threat receiver that we've had since Jamison Williams probably in 2021. Jeremiah Smith's a big guy, possession guy, and that's the same with Brandon Ennis. So you think about the receiver type for these quarterbacks. Carson Beck's got guys, shorter, faster, quicker guys. You just get the ball and let them go. So it's he's naturally going to have a lower average air yards percentage, average than Julian Sand. So that's something I look for here. Julian Saint's going to have to push the ball down the field. Let your guy, give your guys a chance to go up and get the football. You got good DBs for Miami, like OJ Federique is really good, but if I'm Julian Saint, I'm taking my guys one-on-one anytime. Throw the ball up there. Adding on to this receiving core, you got guys like Max Clare at tight end. He's one of the best tight ends in the country, might be the best behind Michael Trigg. Obviously, there's other tight ends in the league that are going to have something to say about that. Josh Cuevas, just guys, Stowers at Vanderbilt. But nonetheless, he's one of the best in the nation. And I look for him to be involved here heavily because Miami's going to have to divert a lot of resources to that receiving core. And a lot of times when that happens, tight ends get lost. Defensively, I mentioned earlier in the video that they might be the best defense in the country. They're 5th against the run and 1st against the pass. So in Indiana, it's not like Indiana gouged them. Now, I think they were able to move the ball pretty well until they crossed Ohio State's side of the field, and that's a skill. I'm not knocking them for that. That's how Ohio State plays defense, and it's very effective. It's how a lot of teams are starting to adopt their defensive philosophy, and it's not bend, don't break. Bend, don't break is just make them snap the ball over and over. That's it, just make them snap the football. That's the philosophy behind bend, don't break. This is just give them a shorter field and just go. And I like it because when you say just go, I'm talking about Caden Curry and Keontae Jackson, 2 great edge guys. And when Miami steps on the football field, it's not a lot of teams that can match their edge pressure. Well, this team can. Caden Curry has 11 sacks this year. He's going to be a top draft pick. Keontae Jackson has 6.5. He's going to be a guy that's going to stick around probably after this year. I don't believe he's a senior. Just a lot of talent. And then when you layer it with the guys they have, it's just unbelievable that at every level on defense, they just have dogs. Every level, first level, second level, all the way back to the secondary. Caleb Downs might be the best player in college football. So hopefully he goes number 7 to the Washington Commanders. That'd be great. But it's just unbelievable athletes. So enough talking about these two teams singularly. Let's go ahead and look at some of these questions I have for the game and the key matchups. Like Miami did in the A&M game, it's similar to my preview. In that game, I said which pass rush will take over and which offensive line will hold up. Well, this game kind of prospects the same. Which dominant edge rush duo will get home, and which elite offensive line can hold up. I mean, if you've watched my videos before, I put an absolute premium on the line of scrimmage. So in a game that's this close, whoever wins the line of scrimmage is probably going to win the football game. Look for that. I mean, I know not a lot of people watch offensive and defensive line play during the whole game, just watching it. But if you're like just a complete psycho football enjoyer, that's something that's going to be beautiful in this football game. It's going to be literal battle. It's going to be war. I can't wait to watch it. And then secondly, which QB can get their ball to the ball? Pause. Oh my goodness. Which QB can get the ball to their playmakers the best? Julian Saint, that's probably has a little bit of a different job, like I said, than Carson Beck because he has a better receiving core, but he's got to get the ball down the field to his guys because that's the type of receivers they have. Carson Beck, even though the receiving core isn't as good, it's get the ball in their hands immediately. Which QB can do that? And obviously, traditionally, that sounds like Carson Beck has the advantage there, but I tend to think it's a little – I think it's 50-50 because Ohio State knows this. Matt Patricia's been great all year, and we're going to actually get into that. But he's not stupid. He realizes that, okay, this personnel group that Miami has is different than a lot of the teams we've seen this year. We're moving our guys up. We're rolling our safeties down. I'd look for a lot of cover 2 in this game. That intermediate pass to short pass is going to be locked up. Cover 1 a lot because Ohio State has the guys to run man, and they have the personnel, and this is why it's so hard to pick against Ohio State. Their personnel can do anything. They got the safeties who can cover ground and cover 2. They got the linebackers, corners, and safeties who can play cover 1 and be perfectly fine, especially against a team who likes to run screen passes and quick game. They're just so hard to play against. And lastly, scheme. I talked about scheme a lot in the Indiana-Ohio State Big Ten Championship because when a game is this close on being on paper, scheme plays a big part in that. So that's Mario Cristobal versus Ryan Day. Shannon Dawson is Miami's offensive coordinator. Like I said before, Matt Patricia is Ohio State's defensive coordinator. Who wins that battle schematically? Who out-schemes who? Brian Hartline obviously took the USF job. He's not coaching in the playoffs. He's not calling the plays. Ryan Day is the play caller on offense for Ohio State. So, I don't know when the last time Ryan Day called plays were, but Corey Heatherman as the DC for Miami is going to have his guys ready to go. So it's Corey Heatherman versus Ryan Day on that side of the ball too. So that should be excited to watch. Betting-wise, this is absolutely unbelievable to me. I already bet this game. I already bet the spread. Ohio State is favored by 9.5 points. I'm telling you right now, I think Miami's going to cover the spread. I haven't picked my winner yet, but I think Miami's covering the spread. This game is so unbelievably close to me. I've been flip-flopping on who I thought was going to win for the past 4 hours, and for us to look at a spread and it be 9.5 on this game is crazy to me. Ohio State's money line is minus 360. If you think Miami's going to win this game, there's good value on the money line, plus 290. The over/under is 40.5. I can't believe this game is minus 9.5. I do think Ohio State wins this game. I've been flip-flopping on this for a while, like I said, about 4 hours, just doing the research for this game and then thinking about it, processing it for the past few hours. It's just been chaos in my brain. But I do think Ohio State wins this game. I think they just out-personnel them. And that you don't usually hear that with a team that recruits as well as Miami. But Ohio State defensively is better than A&M. And what A&M did to Miami was insane. And vice versa. But I think Ohio State has a more consistent quarterback than Texas A&M does in Marcel Reed. And I think they score enough points. I think whoever scores, kind of like I said in the Oklahoma-Alabama game, which was incorrect, but I think in this game, whoever scores 24 points if I told either team you score 24 points today, I'd say both teams feel pretty confident in winning that game. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm excited to watch this game. Enjoy the second round and tune back in, please. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you don't mind. Really helps the channel out. And thank you so much. Jesus saves. God bless. Hope everyone has a good day.